Hi everyone, welcome to Squatchstone. Tonight's story may feel pretty familiar to you lucky or unlucky few that have encountered Bigfoot. That moment of fear when you realize that you're alone with a creature that was only a legend until that very second. Tonight's story is about a truck driver named David who encountered a Bigfoot while doing a late night run, turning a legend into a terrifying reality.
Bigfoot David. Tuesdays were David's least favorite days. At least on Mondays, he could find himself in a mindset to work. But Tuesdays were a real block in the week for him. Of course, all the days began seeming the same when he began working for Rippy's truck company. David always had a knack for driving. When he was 16, he drove as a pizza delivery man. When he turned 18, he started taking his friends out on camping trips to the woods. David had grown up with a real man's man of a dad, so naturally he was taught how to hunt from a young age. Ergo, when he was 25 years old and working at a desk job, he'd take the opportunity every weekend to go hunting. The wilderness was really his second home. He'd always thought landscapes were beautifully mysterious, hiding dozens of creatures in plain sight. David's parents always warned him about encountering a Bigfoot. Everyone's parents have their kooky beliefs, and this was theirs. His mother and father had met on a mission trip in Arizona, trying to track down the creature. Years passed, and both of them lost time and motivation to get out and hunt down the elusive creature, but they never stopped believing. Eventually, David got tired of his desk job and quit. About 2 months later, he found good work with Rippy's and decided to pursue a career in truck driving. He enjoyed being in his own world, where he could sit with his thoughts and drive alongside highways decorated on the brim with nature. He enjoyed the solitude and self-responsibility of traveling alone and in a timely manner. He also enjoyed the fact that his Lynyrd Skynyrd and Rolling Stone CDs got a lot of use. On this Tuesday night, David was coming from Idaho carrying a heap full of their famous potatoes. I-15 southbound toward a town called St. Georgia in Utah was his directional. It was going to be a long night, but he was prepared, having stocked up with gas station coffee and some cheap energy drinks. At about midnight, a thin fog began to roll in, and in the distance, Dave could hear the howl of a wolf. There was nobody else on the highway around him at that time of night, and that made him feel uncomfortably alone. Usually, there would be a few other late-night stragglers, but there was nothing. No other car headlights reflecting off the pavement, and no red taillights glistening ahead of him. An hour went by, and the fog had nearly tripled in thickness. David clicked on his high beams and persisted forward. There was a sign that read gas 2 miles, but the truck was doing surprisingly well on fuel. He thought about pulling over and resting his eyes and mind for a couple of minutes, but took a second glance at his energy drinks, snapped one open and drank until he felt jittery enough to keep driving. Suddenly, the road thinned into 2 lanes, and David had to slow down. The fog kept thickening by the minute, so David slowed down even more. He peered at the light glowing from his dashboard. The time was 1:30 a.m., and David couldn't help but continue to feel strangely isolated. He accounted it to his distaste for Tuesdays. Suddenly, out of the corner of David's eyes, he saw what could have been a deer running through the bushes, out the left side of his truck. The animal ducked behind bushes. David had never seen a deer run that fast, and figured something was chasing it. On a spur of the moment, a creature growled and emerged onto the road. Its eyes glistened a bright yellow that cut through the fog. It stood 8 feet high and towered over the hood of the truck that was barreling straight towards it. David grabbed his wheel and jerked it to the right, swerving out of the way just in time. As he passed the colossus, it roared at him, making the truck window vibrate. David was headed straight for a guardrail and jerked the wheel again, this time left. He managed to successfully evade any damage to the vehicle and pulled over to the side. He looked in his rear view to see where the creature was. But when he tried to find it, David saw nothing but pavement and a calm sky. He got back in his car and let out a gasp of air, beginning to hyperventilate. He took out his cell phone and dialed his parents. His mother answered the phone, and she sounded groggy and unrested, which was understandable for that time in the night. "David, what's the matter? This better be good," his mother said impatiently. David could hardly catch his breath. "It's real, Mom. It's real, I saw it." "What in the hell are you talking about, David?" "Bigfoot, a Sasquatch, whatever the hell you call it. It was huge and hairy and roared louder than anything I've ever heard roar before in my life." There was a moment of silence, and David's mother told him to calm down and to drink some water. The two stayed on the phone for 3 more hours, talking about how the creature was truly real and truly terrifying.
The lonely open road is scary even without having a run-in with the Bigfoot. I've heard stories about the terror that runs cold through your veins. It's primal and deep, as though we've evolved in proximity with these creatures and know it's a no-win situation for us. Thanks for watching Squatch Zone, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a story.